Good morning and welcome to the Knit Shift episode 30. My name is Laura and today is Wednesday, October 21st, 2015, Back to the Future Day. If you're new here, thank you so much for checking out my podcast. I talk about knitting, yarn, my dog, a little bit about what's going on in my life. I'm a journalist in Southeast Virginia, hence the name of the podcast, The Knit Shift. I work evenings. And if you're coming back, thank you so much for spending a little bit of your day with me. I really appreciate it. Show notes can be found at theknitshift.com. I'm on Instagram as Laura Mahalski. I'm on Ravelry as Yarnstormer. And we have a Ravelry group for the podcast called The Knit Shift. So just run a search on Ravelry and you'll find us. Just a little bit of podcast housekeeping. I might not record next week. I haven't decided. It depends on how my week shapes up. Next week, I will be going out of town to SAF, the Southeastern Animal Fiber Fair in West Virginia, North Carolina, wrong side of the state. So I think I might be running around a little too much and won't have time to record next week, but I'll try. We'll see. Other podcast business, you might notice the camera quality is a little bit different. I have a webcam now. I did some practice with it over the weekend, and I am very optimistic that it will make for better video quality. The audio quality sounds good. I don't think I need my external mic anymore, so let me know what you think of the video quality if you don't mind. I'd appreciate it. This episode, I have a finished object to show you. I have 2 new works in progress, and I will talk a little bit more about SAF. First up is a finished knit, which is a segment I recorded a few days ago in anticipation of it going in the mail to its recipient. So I just wanted to share this finished knit with you. It's Sunday morning right now, and I wanted to film this before I stick it in the mail for the recipient, because as I was knitting it, I realized that I really wanted to give this to a certain someone who had gone through some rough stuff recently, and they are this person's colors, I think, so I hope she likes it. So I finished my sailing shawl by Meg Gadsby. It's a $6 paid for pattern. It comes in 2 sizes, a skein of fingering weight or about 500 yards of DK weight yarn. I used Malabrigo Machita, which is a single ply fingering weight yarn, in the colorway Diana. I have the leftovers here. It's let me see how well there it zooms in. So it's kind of peachy pinks and golds and greens, and there's a hint of purple and blue, and it's just really, really lovely. So I have probably 15 grams of yarn left. And this is a pattern that you could knit basically until you run out of yarn. So I don't know if I would recommend knitting it with 2 skeins of sock yarn, because that would just kind of get really unwieldy as it is an asymmetrical shawl. But definitely if you have a special skein of sock yarn in your life, this would be a good project for it. So I'm kind of wearing it all tied up like a cowl right now, just for our purposes. But I will take it off and show you guys how it looks. I didn't do any size measurements, but it's probably about 16 inches deep at the widest point here in the middle. It's really quite soft. It blocked out nicely. I think I used size 7 needles. I don't have them right here next to me, but I'm pretty sure I used size 7s. And you can see the repeats. It's alternating bands of garter and stockinette. And it was super simple and really easy, a good TV knitting project. And you can see that the colors really, they just don't pool. There's no way to get the whole thing in, unfortunately. But it's great for a multicolored yarn or a solid yarn. So there you have it. And since I recorded this segment about the shawl, the recipient has received the shawl, and the timing of it, I mailed it Monday morning, and I feel so bad. Her car got dinged in her work parking lot on Monday, and then Tuesday she came home to my package in the mail. So it was a very unfortunate thing that happened to her car, but it was a nice surprise, I suppose, to get a day later. But it was she really liked it. I think she posted about it on Instagram, and I was very tickled that she loved it as much as she did. So hooray! I love giving knitted gifts. So that's the only finished knit I have this week. I've been plugging away on a pair of 2 at a time socks, which I don't have to show you right now because they're on the other side of my chair and I'm lazy. But I do have 2 new objects to show you. I cast on, actually no, this first item is not new. You saw this before. So I cast on a sock last week in anticipation. Well, did you see this? I can't remember. I'm sorry. Anyway, it's a singleton sock. This is spun right round. Let me see what it's called. This is her snappy sock base. It's Corriedale. And so it's not super soft. It's Corriedale nylon. And it's the colorway Return to Prism. Prism, Prism. So you can see that it's just really bright rainbows, reds and whites and rusty oranges and dark greens, and thankfully it's not pulling too much. I'm really pleased with it. This stitch marker is here. I cast this on last week in anticipation of going to see a movie on Sunday because I like to knit just a plain stockinette sock while I go to the movies. And I put this stitch marker in before the movie started, and so I made all of this progress above the markers during the movie. I went to see Bridge of Spies, the Cold War movie starring Tom Hanks, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm knitting these on my trusty Chai-Gu needles on a size 1.5, 1.5, 2.5 millimeters. I'm really enjoying how the fabric is knitting up. There's no pooling. They're just really bright, happy rainbow socks, and I'm loving them. I did my normal toe-up cast on. I cast on 32 stitches, 16 and 16 per needle with Judy's Magic Cast On. I increased every round until I got to 48 stitches total, and then I cut the increases to every third round, which gives it a nice toe shape, in my opinion. And I increased all the way to, I believe, 64 stitches. So yeah, I'm really, really loving this sock. And ideally, you know how you sometimes decide you want to get to a certain point in a project by a certain date? I'm really hoping I can get beyond the heel of this before I leave for SAF. I'd like to turn the heel in anticipation of my trip. And I'm keeping this project in a little dumpling bag that I got at a yarn store in the Outer Banks of North Carolina called Knitting Addiction. I am sad to say that whoever makes these does not make them anymore. I bought this 4 or 5 years ago at the shop, and since then I went back this summer and asked about them, and the shop owner said she's really sad, but the person who makes them just doesn't make them anymore. But I really like this. It's just a fun shape. I love the triangle. And I love there's this fun stitching here going up the side. So, and it is lined with brown, and there's more stitching inside, brown polka dots and this fun stitching. So I really like this bag. It's seen me through many knitting projects. And my next work in progress is something I started all of 3 days ago, and I'm almost done with it. So the story with this project is I'm going to SAF I'm going with 2 friends who live near me, and then we're meeting another friend of ours who's driving from Tennessee. And we have been texting probably, no exaggeration, 20 times a day since we, in the past few days, just building up to our trip. So my one friend found a hat. My one friend found a hat pattern she wanted to knit before the trip. And I think I was the next one to say, oh, that looks really pretty. Do you care if I copy you and make one? And at that point, it was like, game on. Let's get everyone to knit a hat. So we're theoretically all making this hat. And this is Renfrew by Jane Richmond. And I can show it to you on the needles, but the fun thing about this hat is you knit it and then you turn it inside out. And that's the way you wear it. So let me turn it inside out, and I can show you the pattern. But this is exactly the kind of hat I was looking for. It's just knit in the round, and then there's this one little stitch pattern here. It looks really sharp. Let me kind of pull it a little taut like it will look on a head. Yeah, so it's a 4-row repeat. It's very, very simple. And I love this yarn so much. This is Skeiny Dipping, and it's her Journey sock, or not Journey sock, Journey worsted. It's 200 yards of a super wash merino, and the colorway is Bag of Juju. The light is washing it out a bit. It's darker than it's looking on my computer screen here, but let me see if I can, that's a little better, pulling it back to this distance. It's a really dark purple with hints of, it looks, honestly, these dark parts look like grape jelly to me, and just really bright violet, and I love it so much. And this twist on this yarn, let me see if I can hold it up here. The twist on this yarn, pardon my little scar from my fall last week on my palm of my hand. It's a really tight twist. It's a pleasure to knit with. I'm really enjoying this so much. And the pattern calls for, and I can show you the finished object on the pattern here. I folded it up so you could see it there. Wait, I guess I could turn it sideways. So yeah, so now it looks like it's magically floating on a tree branch that's sideways. So the pattern calls for basically a single skein of worsted yarn, about 200 yards, 180 yards I think it says. And it's a $6 pattern if I haven't said that already. Let's see. Yes, it calls for 1 skein of Madeline Tosh Vintage, which is a 200 yard worsted weight wool. And it also calls for size 7 needles. And I have to say, I cast on this yarn, it must have been 5 times for this project, and the yarn held up so well. I started it on a 7 as the pattern recommended. I didn't knit a gauge swatch because I don't believe in gauge swatching for hats. I would just much rather let the hat be the swatch and then adjust accordingly, even if it means ripping it out, which I had to do. So I cast it on with size 7s, and I tried on the ribbing, and it takes no time at all to knit an inch of ribbing on worsted weight size 7s. And the ribbing just felt too loose, it just didn't feel like it was going to stay on my head well. So I ripped it out and I went down to a size 6 for the ribbing, and that felt much better. I like the look of it much better. Here, I'll flip it out again and show you. I just did a long tail cast on. I probably could have done something fancy like a tubular cast on, but I'm fine with how a long tail cast on looks. So there's the ribbing turned inside out. So it's a nice stretchy 1x1 rib for about 1.5 inches. And then you just switch to stockinette, and the stitch repeat is only over 10 or 12 stitches. So you knit the stitch repeat, and then you just knit in the round over and over. And it's super simple. I like it so much. I can see myself knitting this hat again very soon. And if I play my cards right, I could finish this in the next day or two. It's just a matter of finding an hour or so in between work and other stuff I have going on. So we'll see. Socks are just a much more portable project for me, so I've mostly been knitting this hat when I'm at home. When I've been at home watching TV, which I did a lot of on Sunday and Monday. Monday is when I started this, so really like this. It will be a bit slouchy. There's instructions to make it less slouchy. Oh, and by the way, so I knit size 6s on the ribbing, but then I increased the needle size to an 8 once I got to the body of the hat. I really wanted to have a snug brim, but then to really be kind of blousey is the long word. I just want it to be a little loose and floppy because of the hair. And I can wear a tight hat, but then my curls are messed up. So I want to be vain and have a nice slouchy hat for wearing to the festival. And fingers crossed that it's cold enough to wear. So hopefully you will see. I guess you won't see this finished next week if I don't record, but if I record, hopefully it's finished by then. So that is my other work in progress. Let me pull up my notes here. So yeah, those are my 2 works in progress. Oh, and I have to say, last week when I showed you my mitered square blanket, I felt like I was breaking some knitterly rules when I said that I didn't like the phrase cozy memories blanket. But I heard from a few of you who were totally like, yes, I'm right there with you. I don't like that either. It's just a sock yarn blanket. So thank you guys for fighting the good fight with me against the twee name. So gosh, I don't even know. I might have knit a block on that last week, but it's not worth going across the room to get it. So I'll have updates on that sporadically. So in terms of future knitting, because it's Back to the Future Day, because I just bought this yarn, I really want to cast on my Opal Best Friend sock yarn that I got and I showed you last week in the colorway Marty and Doc. And I have it sitting here with needles. So this is an Opal Best Friends colorway. It is gray and red and white and blue and just really nice 80s colors. Now, I mentioned that I bought this from littleknits.com because of the colorway names. They had Han and Chewie, and they had, Marty and Doc, and I thought, oh my gosh, I have to buy these. This is so much fun. And then I get it in the mail, and nothing on this says Marty and Doc. It's all German phrases. Like this is Blutsbruder, which sounds like something brother to me. So that's okay. I'm a victim of marketing, and it does say Marty and Doc to me, and that's what matters. So I might cast those on, but at that point I would have 3 different socks on the needles, which is a bit much for me. I like to stick to just 1 or 2 sock projects at a time, or I get overwhelmed. So we'll see. Maybe if I get to the heels of both of my sock projects, then I'll cast this one on. But I really want to cast it on today because today is Back to the Future Day. Oh, what's a knitter to do? I don't know. We'll see. So I have talked in previous episodes about having a knit along. I haven't forgotten about that. I just have kind of put it on the back burner for now. The holidays are 2 months away, whether we want to face it or not. I'm not really planning on doing any Christmas knitting, but plenty of people are. So maybe one of these prizes will be a, maybe I'll just give away a prize. We'll see. I'm thinking about it. I'll let you guys know in an episode or two what the plan is. So stay tuned for that. And I have no yarms to show you this week. And if you're new here, I just call my stash enhancement segment yarms because I'm just weird. And that's what I say when I get yarn in the mail. I say I got some yarms. But I might not have yarms, but I do have a fun purchase to show you. I went to Gabe's yesterday, which is a discount store like, if the mall sends their discount clothes to TJ Maxx, like clothes that don't totally meet their standards, and then TJ Maxx or Marshalls sells them for less. Gabe's, if TJ Maxx is to the mall, Gabe's is to TJ Maxx, if that makes sense. Like, Gabe's is where the really leftover stuff gets sent. And it was based, I want to say it's based in Ohio, Pennsylvania, somewhere around there, because growing up in Western Pennsylvania, they were called Gabriel Brothers then. Everyone just called it Gabe's. They were just like a tornado hit a store. They were like the size of a Kmart, but there would be these handwritten scrawled signs like tops $1.99. And it looked like a drunk person wrote them. They were sloppy as heck. But you had to do some digging, but you could really find some good stuff. So cut to now, I haven't lived in Pennsylvania for a decade. I haven't been to Gabe's for a while, but there's now a Gabe's in my area. So I've been like 4 or 5 times now, and it's much more organized than I remember. They have actual signs, not just written by drunk people. And if you do a little digging, you can still find, I haven't found as many flaws in the items they sell as I did back in the day. Maybe their quality of their products has improved. But one of my first visits, there were Ralph Lauren blazers for $29.99, nary a scratch on them. Nothing was wrong with them. So I found a few dresses for work there. So anyway, I went yesterday with my friend Emily, and I was looking for leggings, and I ended up spending $100 on everything but leggings. But it was all stuff I needed or really wanted. You know, I got a new pair of running shoes for $20. You know, shoes that would have cost me $80 anywhere else. You know, they're name brand running shoes. But the real thing, the pinnacle of what I bought is a wallet. Because I knew I wanted a little dinky Velcro wallet to carry around SAF, because I don't want to bring my big wallet with all of my shopper cards and, you know, business cards, whatever. I don't want to bring that. So I bought this wallet for $5. And brace yourselves, because this is a cat pun. I'm for real, but it's Pharrell Williams in a cat form. So I'm Pharrell. I'm for real, and I'm Pharrell. And I love this so much. I'm a dog person, but when I saw a cat that is meant to be Pharrell Williams, I had to buy it. Pharrell Williams is from Virginia Beach, where I live. So, you know, I really had to bring it home for the 757, the area code where I live. That's what everyone calls it, the 757. So the line is Pets Rock. It's a Velcro wallet. It is no frills. It is exactly what I wanted, and I'm so happy with it. So there you have it. And it just smells like plastic. Oh, I need to like air it out before I use it, because it's very plasticky smelling. So I have that. And that brings us to the end of the podcast for a segment, basically odds and ends. So like I said at the beginning of the episode, I will be at SAF on next weekend, not 3 days from now, but 10 days from now. It's a fiber fair that runs Friday through Sunday in, I believe, Fletcher, North Carolina, which is near Asheville. My friends and we're renting a little house for 3 nights, and we'll be at the festival probably Saturday. I presume Saturday, and then maybe Sunday. We'll see about Sunday. But yeah, we're really looking forward to it. We have a lot of vendors we want to go see. Miss Babs will be there. There is a vendor we're all obsessed with called Purdy, Purdy, Thangs. Purdy Thangs, Thangz. So we just want to go to Purdy Thangs because we love the name Purdy Thangs. But I have a list in my phone. I won't bring it up, but there's a lot of places we want to go check out. So there's is it Unique Sheep that does the gradients set? They combine the word gradient and radiance into gradients. So I really want to check that out. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of damage to my wallet, and I'm not just sorry, Pharrell. You're gonna get a workout at SAF, and I cannot wait. And just so you know, there will be a mini meetup. Kemper, if you watch the Junk Yarn podcast, Kemper, the host, will be having a little get-together at French Broad Chocolates in Asheville at 4 p.m. Saturday. If you'd like to go, if you're in the area. She seems really fun from her podcast. I'd like to meet her. But maybe, I don't know if my friends and I will go. We'll see. Maybe I'll just run into her walking around the festival. I don't think it's anywhere near as big as Maryland Sheep and Wool or Rhinebeck. And by the way, I was not at Rhinebeck this past weekend, though it felt like the vast majority of the knitterly world was there, including a lot of my friends. But anyway, yes, Kemper's having a meetup at 4 p.m. Saturday at French Broad Chocolates. They have drinking chocolates, they've got truffles, they have all sorts of desserts. I've been there before, and it's delightful. So, and if you are at SAF, please say hi if you see me. I would love to say hello and meet you. And if you see me, I will have a swag bag for you, and I brought one to show you. Basically, it has a card for the podcast, which on the back of it has all of my details of where to find me. And it has either a magnet or a pin. This one has a magnet. The pins are a bit smaller. This is, like 3 inches or so. And there's some candy and a mini skein. It's about 7 grams. So if you see me, please say hi. I would love to give you a little swag bag. And if I run out of swag bags, I have extra pins. So please say hi. I love to meet people and say hello. So don't be shy, please. And I think that is the end of the episode for me. So thank you for watching. Maybe I'll see you next week. We'll see. And happy knitting. Bye.